Hey guys, Scott here. I hope you're well. Thank you so much for all the questions I got for my great big Q&A. There were so many, in fact, and I wanted to give detailed answers to all of them. That I decided to split it in half. So this is part two of the Q&A. So I hope you're doing good out there. Thank you for the questions. Let's jump right into it. Okay, let's see who we've got first. Okay. Oh, we've got some questions from Facebook to kick things off. Question number one. Actually, we got a couple questions from Daryl John Ford. Hey, Daryl, how you doing? Daryl's first question. Something like to kick things off. Hey, Scott. Question one: tea or coffee? Um, ooh, Oh, that's a tricky one. It's a tricky one, isn't it, Daryl? Because if you like both, it's like they're both equally great, just for different situations. I mean, when you really want to get caffeinated in the morning, you need a good coffee, something strong. But when it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon and you just sat around and you want a nice warm beverage, and you don't want to get too buzzed. A cup of tea is good. For me, I'm probably going to say tea. I'm probably going to say tea just because I drink more of it. I do love coffee. I remember when I was 17 and I sort of discovered coffee for the first time. And I was like, wow, like this is great. And I didn't sleep for years. Because I just drank so much of it. Anywho, yeah. I really love the real coffee, like the coffee that you get in the bag and you have to grind it in the antique grinder, and then yeah, oh, I love all that cafetiere. Oh, it's so good. I can't have Starbucks coffee anymore though, and it's the reason why I don't drink as much coffee now as I used to. It's because I remember the first time I had a Starbucks coffee and it was just like a normal coffee, no junk added to it, and I was just shaking afterwards. I was shaking. I had to go home and lie down for a couple of hours because it was so, like, it was just affecting my body in a really profound way, and I was just like, ah. It was just, it was not cool at all, Daryl. So I have coffee these days, but I have to like turn down like how strong it is because my body just can't stand it. I love it. My body doesn't, so probably go tea. Anyway, thank you, Daryl, for that question. Let's see. Oh, you got a couple other questions, Daryl. They start to get more musical as they go along. Cool. Question two. Can you remember your last day before isolation? Oh, no, is the short answer. But the long answer is, I went. I took a week of annual leave from my job, the week before UK lockdown went into effect, and during that week, um, everything I had planned was cancelled. I had a bunch of stuff going on, so I first of all, I had an interview at Guildford University at their student union about my music, and I was really looking forward to that and filming that, and that being a really cool little bit of content here. Then that got cancelled, and secondly, I was going to go to the cinema with my friend to see The Invisible Man with Elizabeth Moss. That got cancelled and chucked up on rental straight away. So there you go. Still haven't seen it. And then the third day, on Thursday, I was getting presented with an award for like the work I do in prisons, and I was really kind of buzzed about it. The closer it was getting, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be cool." And that got cancelled as well. So I was probably most bummed about that. But just everything that week got cancelled, and so it felt like my week of annual leave was me getting started on lockdown before everyone else, because I didn't really get to leave the house. I didn't get to do very much apart from doing stuff here in the studio, which I'm glad I have, because I've been able to be productive during this time. But yeah, my last day before lockdown, it's probably my last day of work. Really, if we're talking bluntly about it, probably my last day of work, and it was a tricky day at work, and I was ready for a break, which, in a way, I got in a big way, and also in another way I didn't really get at all. Um, you know, but There you go. Thanks for your question, Daryl. I got one more from you. Here we go. Third question: do you decide to write music, or do you write when the ideas come to you? Let's look over that one. Okay, so I talked a little bit about my songwriting process in the last Q&A. So if you want to hear more about that, go check out the other Q&A on the channel. It will be down in the description. It was a really fun one as well. Um, yeah, so music. I want to precisely answer the question: do you decide to write music? Um, so I yeah, so sometimes songs just come to me out of the ether. I've got a song called Two Cats. I posted it the other week. Um, and that's a song that I was looking to write something in that vein, because I was doing like a comedic animation channel on YouTube um, for a while, and I wanted to do a song for it, and so I wanted to write something of that ilk. And I looked out the window and I saw these two cats making little paw gestures at each other, like they were having a conversation. And then suddenly the song just popped in my head: two cats having a conversation. And over time, with that song, more words came to me. Um, Gradually, and sometimes I had to sit down and like craft it a bit more and think about the words a bit more. Then other times I'd just be walking along and the song would be playing in the back of my mind and writing itself and rewriting lines, to the point where next time I pick up my guitar to run through it, I go, wait, that line's different to what I recorded before. And I go, oh yeah, because it's been going around the back of my head and it's just been changing. It's just the way I work. And so yeah, some parts creep up on me, some parts I have to sit down and get really specific with. And at the end of the day, whether I've had to sit down and figure out a song from scratch, or whether it's like one of these floaty songs that comes out of the ether, I always sit down at the end and look over the lyrics and look over the music, and I try to make sure everything makes sense and that it works. My degree, my creative writing degree, really affected my songwriting in a big way, because they said every word counts. They said, I can't remember who said this originally, some very profound person, but they said that a picture paints 1,000 words, but one word paints 1,000 pictures. And that really affected me, because it just rang true. I was like, it's so true. We just interpret words so differently. Words have so many different meanings and so many connotations, and just paint a fast picture depending on your personal context or whatever. And so it really made me start looking um, at every single word of my song. And with songwriting, you're a bit restricted, because you're restricted to rhythm and rhyme, and what just sounds good, what tastes good in the mouth when you sing it. There's certain songs where I want to say a certain thing, but you have to, sure, you can't quite say it the way you want to say it. You've got to say it almost without saying it. That sounds really weird, but you have to sometimes minimize the message, and make it just short and snappy, because you're confined to a certain amount of syllables. You need to have a word that rhymes at this point, so you can't say that specific thing. It's tricky. You're trapped in that, so it's like solving a riddle. Songwriting, I love it. But yeah, even though it's that, I try to make every word count. It's tricky, and sometimes you end up with words where you're like, not sure I would have originally put that there, and but it works. It works. It serves the song. So yeah, that's a little bit peek inside the dream factory there. So yeah, songs do just come to me out of nowhere. Other times, I sit down and sort of try to work at them from scratch if I've got an idea or a song title or something like that. But yeah, I try to put an emphasis on every word, Whenever I've got a song and I think, oh, it's good, I scrutinize it and go, does each part work effectively? Is there a good marriage between the music and the lyrics? Like in Two Cats, I try to make sure that you know, there was going to be some sort of like cat noises in the song because it was all a song about cats having a conversation. And, I was like, I want to have a section where the cats are talking because that feels like you know, that's the point of the song. Um, so it'd be weird not to make cat noises in the song because, come on, that's just fun. So I had to work that in a way that was fun, but also worked within the context of the song. So you see, juggling lots of balls when I'm songwriting. Anyway, thank you so much for the question, Darryl. I really appreciate it. Stay awesome, man. Let's see. I think we got two more questions. As I said, we did a Q&A last week, so if you want to check out part one, there's a link in the description. This one's from Alan. Hey, Alan. Alan's awesome, man. Nice one, Scott. Love it. One question for you, my friend. What are you on Jumping Beans? Lol. Thank you for that question, Alan. I think what Alan's referring to there is the fact I'm quite energetic in my videos. And, I just... Am I on Jumping Beans? Maybe. I love watching performers that are just like giving it their all and are just physically, vocally, musically, just giving everything they can to entertain whoever it is in front of them. And when I perform on YouTube, I treat it the same as if I'm playing live to an audience. I'm there to enthrall them, entertain them, and it doesn't matter if I'm playing to a room of 2 people or 200 people. I want to give them an experience they're going to remember, and yeah, really give them something visceral where they walk away and go, that was one of the best gigs I've ever been to. And I want people to have the same experience on YouTube. I want people to watch a video and go, that's one of the best performance videos I've ever watched, and just have a really, really good time with it and provide like a lot of value, with what I'm doing here. That's just me. I love music. When I was in bands, I'd jump about the stage doing my wild thing, and then when I no longer had a band behind me and I just had an acoustic guitar, I just kept doing that. And people found it a bit weird. They're like, why are you going so energetic? Why are you so like nuts that you don't have a band or anything? And I was just like, well, because music's fun, and like I love this music that I'm writing, and I don't just want to stand there like a stick insect when I'm absolutely like loving it and enjoying it. And I just want people to have as good a time with these songs as I am. And I think the way I perform my songs is as important as the songs themselves. It's a big part of it. So whenever I record an album, put it out, and I've worked really hard on it, I'm very proud of it. But then I also go, it's missing something because the live aspect of it, the performative aspect of it, is gone. So, yeah. So I hope that answered your question. Alan, thank you very much for it. We got one more question here. I've saved this one intentionally for last because it's quite a long one. It's quite a detailed one. It's quite a nuanced one. So here we go. So the question here is from David Silk. Hey, Dave. Dave's question is, hi matey, congrats on finally getting your new camera up and running. My question is, when you're able to leave home and go out and about again, how do you go about finding and booking places to play? Do you just phone around blindly or have regular contacts? I'm not asking for amounts / figures, but do you get paid to perform at these venues / do it for exposure or a bit of each, etc.? Thank you, Dave. That's a great question, and I think for some people who are watching who want to go out and gig and haven't done it before, this might be this is a helpful question, so thank you for that. Let's go through it bit by bit. So how do you go about finding and booking places to play? So obvious answer first. I look for places that are close to me. I look for places that are not going to be too long a drive, just so that I can try and bring my friends and maybe my family as well to watch, because it's good when you bring people onto the show. Promoters like that and are happy about that when you bring people, and they'll usually give you more performance opportunities if you bring a bit of a crowd. So I tried to do that. So I try to find places that are local first and play those places, and hopefully, getting friendly with as many of them as I can, and play well, and hopefully they'll want me back. So, how do I go about booking them though? Well, these days, a lot of it comes down to Facebook and email. Um, you know, most music venues have a Facebook page, and they'll all have an email. And so you either message them across Facebook, or message them or email them, saying you want to play. And usually, you don't just send them an email saying, "Hey, I want to play." You know, Usually they want a bit more information before that. And music venues tend to have criteria on their websites or on their Facebook page about what they want from acts when they're like applying for a booking, asking for a booking. Um, and usually it's similar stuff. It's who are you, what kind of music do you play, where are you based, what are your influences, can we have a bit of a bio, and can we have a link through to your music. Some people will want to listen to an audio track, but I find most these days want to see a video, because they want to see how you are performing. They want to see actually doing it, because there have been cases in the past of people sending MP3s along, and that people going, "Oh, that's great," and then they come along and they're completely different bands. So video is way more compelling for promoters, and music venues, I hear. Um, and so, yeah, usually you fill up your email or your message with the stuff they've asked for, and you say, "Hey, I really love your venue. I'd love to discuss playing here," and then, yeah, you get into a conversation about it. If they like your stuff, they'll discuss dates with you when you can possibly come play. And then when it comes to money, I I was gigging for many years before I really got paid. Regularly. Occasionally you'd get paid for playing, and you go, "Oh, that's nice," but I wasn't expecting it when that happened. When it got to 2015, and I decided to go part time, teaching part time and then just gigging the rest of the time. Um, when I got to that point, I was like, right, I need to start getting paid more regularly. And so I had to figure out, what if someone asks me how much do I charge, I need to have a figure. I got a funny story about that, but I'll come back round to it. And so I decided that I would charge £50 per half an hour that I play, because most music venues, they they'll usually pub venues at least, where I've played majority of gigs over the last few years. They'll ask you to play two 45-minute sets. I found that one really common, with a break in between, and so yeah, so two 45-minute sets, what's hour and a half, so for me that's 150 quid, boom, easy. And I'm not asking them for too much. Some people will ask for way more, and some people have said you should ask for more, but I think that's reasonable. At this stage, if I'm start bringing along a huge crowd with me every time I play, and I'm bringing them lots of business, I probably ask for double that amount, you know. But I understand that the money I'm taking from them to play is, money they've taken in from the bar that night. Occasionally, if I do a really good job, people give me extra. Um, you know, some of my favourite places to play, they'll pop you a little extra something at the end, whether it's, they'll give you a couple quid and buy a few t-shirts, which is really nice, or a CD. Or sometimes they'll take me behind the bar and they'll say, "What do you want to drink?" And I'm usually driving to these places, so they're just giving me bottles of stuff. So I'll, walk away, with, getting paid, plus a few bottles of Nuki Brown. So that's not bad. So if you do a good job and the people there are friendly and you're friendly, then um, yeah, the rewards are great for playing live music. Um, so yeah, so some venues though will have a they'll have a flat fee of what they're going to pay you. So some venues I don't get paid my flat 50 quid fee. I get paid a lot less. Because that's all they have, and they're not gonna move on that position. They'll be like, right, I want you to play for an hour, and I'll give you 70 quid. You know, um, I try not these days to go out and play anywhere for less than 50 quid, because I just don't think it's really worth it. I think I'm giving a lot of my performance. I've somewhat of a reputation, so yeah, I feel I'm worth at least £50. So I don't want to sell myself short. Um, however, on top of sometimes having to take a little bit less than what you want because there's less money going around, etc. And you want to play. Occasionally I'll play for free, and it's very rare that I do this, but occasionally I'll play for free. But only when I know there's something else I'm going to get out of it. Something very specific that I want. So there's a series of open mic nights that I play, and they're really good quality open mic nights. And the people sit there and shut up and listen. And at the end, usually they come up and they say nice things and they give you feedback. And it's a really polite, cool, sophisticated crowd, full of musicians and non-musicians. And whenever I play there, I try to play new songs. I'm only being asked to play 3 or 4 songs. If they were asking me to play like an hour, I would ask for money. But just because it's a few, I play for free, and I usually play brand new material I haven't tried anywhere else, because I want to try it in this crowd because I know they're listening intently. And that's actually a rarity these days. A lot of pub venues, people are talking over the top of you. You may have a few people at the front or at the back paying attention to you, but for the most part, everyone's just doing their own thing, and you're kind of a jukebox act, like that's what I call it. Whenever I play a gig and no one was listening, I just say it was a jukebox gig tonight, and you go, well, I got paid, so you just forget about it, and then you go buy cheesecake. um yeah, so yeah, I'd say, if you're starting out gigging, you need to build up your confidence as a live act, so you need to go do some good open mic nights, and like do some really good ones where people pay attention and are going to give you feedback, not noisy open mic nights that are at a pub that a pub's just put on to try and pull in punters, and no one's really listening, and it's all just a bit of a mess. Play places where people are going to listen to you. There's some great open mic nights in Hampshire. I've done quite a few around there, pre 2015 when I was a student and then an intern, la di da di da, a long time ago. I played a lot of open mic nights and built up my act. And then when I started charging, I felt confident about that. I was like, I'm having people at open mic nights come up to me going, did you get paid tonight? Like, why are you doing this for free? You should get paid, And when you get feedback like that and you have the self-confidence, you go, right, time to get paid. So, yeah, if you're starting out, I'd say do some good open mics, then start playing gigs and get paid for it. If you feel, oh, I'm good, you should get paid for it. And then from there, you can go wherever. Anyway, I'll conclude this with a little story from a couple of years ago, and I hope I've answered your question, Dave. Back in 2016, just before the Brexit vote, I remember distinctly this time. Back in 2016, it was the Isle of Wight Festival, and a musician friend of mine asked me to come support him playing at this venue. And so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come along and play. It's during the Isle of Wight Festival. It's a pub, not far outside the festival ground. So you're going to get punters from the festival coming in and out. And it'll be a busy time. And so I showed up, and it was a long journey, but I played my set and I played well. and there was it was in a very small pub back garden in Newport, and I played my set, had a good time, and the crowd really liked it. And I came off stage, and this guy came up to me, and this guy was the spitting image of David Cameron. Um, to this day, I think it was him. It wasn't. Anyway, this guy's the spitting image of David Cameron, right? And he comes up to me and goes, "How much would you charge to play a wedding in Sheffield?" And I said, well, firstly, when do you want me to play? And he gave me the date, and I looked at the date, and I'd actually, oh, voice is getting a bit croaky, sorry. Back to normal? Yeah, vaguely. Anyway, so guy says, yeah, how much would you charge for playing in Sheffield on this day? I looked at my phone and I had a gig there booked already, and it was a really well paid gig. I'd taken a deposit already, and so I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not available on that day." And he said, "Whatever they're paying you, I'll pay double." And I was like, "Woo, we're talking a bit of money here at this point." And I go, "Wow, okay." Um, and I looked at it and I felt bad because I'd taken a deposit, and I didn't want to, get a bad name for myself cancelling gigs and stuff like that. So I said to him, you know what, like I I appreciate the offer, but I really should stick to my guns and play it. And he goes, "I'll triple it." And I'm like, we're talking a lot of money now, and I've not been paid that much for a gig before. So in my head, I'm like, and he goes, "Where do you live?" And I go, "I live in Winchester." And he goes, "So obviously you're going to need to travel up. I'll pay for a plane." And I'm like, "Wow, okay." And I'm looking at this guy, and he's got the big gold Rolex, and see, like, from the way he's dressed, I'm like, this guy's got some money. Like, this feels legit. And he goes, "Screw it, I'll throw in a hotel as well," you know. And so he's offering me all this money, and I'm like, "Oh, I want to, but I feel like I should stick to my guns." And he goes, "In the morning, name your price, we'll sort it out." And he walked off, and I never saw him again. And I was so angry because this guy had basically offered me £1,000 to come play in Sheffield for half an hour. That's all he wanted, and he was going to pay for me to travel up there, and he was going to pay to put me up. And me, out of my set of, like, morals, I was like, no, it'd be wrong to cancel this show. And he walked off, and I never saw him again. And if I'd acted then and booked it and, like, sorted out a contract and details and things of this guy, I could have scored, like, my biggest gig today. And who knows where that could have led to. So big mistake on my part. So when these opportunities arise, snatch them. Don't have morals. No, do have morals. I think it was right what I did, but still, it didn't make it suck any less. I was just, afterwards, my friend was just like, "You're an idiot," and I was like, "I'm a fool." Uh, so yeah. There we go. Thank you for the question, Dave. Thank you, everybody, for the questions, both in the last part and in this part. I've really enjoyed answering them. This has been really fun. And so, yeah, I hope you're doing well during quarantine, that you're staying safe and staying sane, doing stuff to entertain yourself, whether it's listening to music or playing music yourself, or doing anything creative, or whatever you're doing, watching Netflix. I hope you're doing good. Stay awesome, stay safe, and I shall see you soon. Peace.